Welcome to the Miniatures Paintbrush and welcome back to another episode of Painting Tutorials. It is Orktober. Oh, wow! For all the people out there that know that there's just something about the orcs. There's just something about the raw untamedness that is the orcs. I did a lot of things here. I did a lot of things when I was painting up these miniatures. The orcs. I actually wet blended on a model for the first time, and I was trying a little more cartoony kind of art sketching for the over-the-top orc goodness. Now, this isn't 40k orcs. This is Orruks, but you know, it's in the same family, in the same vein. Just really outrageous. They're still plants. Orcs are plants. They're sentient plants developed by the old ones in the lore to really take over the galaxy and manage it. But unfortunately, like, all the smart orcs died off. So what you're left with is just this warring clan. And they're happy. They're happy. They're the only clan out of all the other clans that are absolutely happy in the 41st millennia. Although these are for Underworlds, but you know, I am a 40k player. These guys in particular will definitely end up in one of my D&D campaigns. Absolutely. This is such an amazing, fun thing to do. Let me talk a little bit about painting yellow, right? That's such a departure for me. And going up to white and bringing it down to almost a brown. Yeah. So the values jumps on these things are wild. They are wild. They're almost like gold, because gold is essentially yellow. But it was so much fun. I delved in the deep end. Okay, so let me tell you, I tried some new things, and I didn't know what I was doing. I was doing uncharted territory, right? But that's exciting because then I can learn new things. And painting yellow definitely was an adventure for me. And orc skin. Oh, I played with so many combinations of orc skin. But basically it was a dark green to a lighter green, and then a little bit of pink. That's right. Very watermelonish, right? So, and I've seen that done in so many ways. So this guy right here, this is the leader, has two axes. He's the cloak going on. He's the big bad, and he is a little bigger, just a little tiny bigger than the other ones. And the reason for that is the more orcs rampage and, you know, kill enemies and stuff like that and just have fun with their war, the bigger they get. So their size actually increases. Like, that's insane, right? And then orcs, well, they have like shooty things, right? I don't know if you want to call them guns. They're shooty things, right? So they have these pistols and these kinds of things. And, well, they don't care if they hit their enemy as much as the loudness of the daka daka. That's why they call it daka daka. Oh my gosh, orcs are so much fun. But these guys, I painted up for Underworlds. Something very medieval about them. They are insane combatants, and I can't wait to play Underworlds with them against Sarah. She has been reigning with her ghosts. Oh my gosh, her Night Haunt faction, Thorns of the Briar Queen. She has been handing my rear end to me with those. And I did paint those up. You could see it. I think I put a card up here, so you can see that one if you're interested. Oh my gosh, these guys were so much fun to paint. You know, I'm going to show you in the grand reveal, but the orcs, they don't do well on the battlefield. But man, they're heck of fun to play, and that's what it's about. This is about being heck of fun to play and just having a good time and throwing things at enemies, throwing little snotlings at the enemies, throwing little grotlings at the enemies. Their wages are in teeth. So if somebody wanted to, make some money, they go with somebody who have a lot of teeth and, just gosh, the orcs are crazy fun. They're like, I get it. You do have to feel quite a few of these because this is definitely a horde. It can be played as a horde army. And I think seeing an entire WoW as a horde coming down the field is just the way you need to play these things. And I can see why people pour hours and hours onto them. And when it comes to the orc, I mean, they scrap things and they pick things up that are junk and they make it work because they believe it works. So they make it work. Scientifically, it wouldn't. They just believe it's going to work. So it works. That's how the orc do. Anywho, I had a blast painting these up for Orktober, and hopefully you're able to paint up some little orcs for your Orktober just for funsies. All right, let's go down to Tabletown and let's see how we got on with it. Alrighty, so here are all the colors of yellow that I constantly flip back and forth in order to create the gradients for their armor. Cassandora yellow, all kinds of shades, Seraphon Sepian for the things. We have black for the edges. And then we have Temple Card blue as well. It's just an amalgamation of color upon color upon color. But actually blending directly onto the model is something new for me. It's something that I usually don't partake in because I'm usually with the airbrush. So the first thing I did was paint white and then hitting the base tone layer with Avalanche Sunset and coming in with some Flash Gets yellow in order to just build up that transition. I also throw some white in there to go a step further, but the process was quite complex and very, very nerve-wracking because actually painting on this style is how the older artists, the masters, used to paint. So getting used to how they used to paint it and layer on to the armor itself and create that gradient is an experience. I felt like I was an actual artist or artiste, and getting into that. Cassandra yellow is going to go into the recesses to just really bring up that contrast. And this is the name of the game, playing where light is going to hit onto the miniature and finding out how it's going to shine back. Now some Seraphon Sepia, just to do some pin wash here and there. It's orcs, so they get pretty dirty, so you don't have to worry too much about where the grit gets onto. But I did want to pin wash because I just really wanted a separation from the top armor to the bottom armor as well, and really get a sense of a lot of different plates. All right, some white with some Flash Gets yellow. I do use Vallejo Artist ink, but you can use other inks as well. And this is just for the super highlights and really just the edges, almost going straight up to white there and getting that transition. Again, nerve-wracking as all get out because it's something I'm not used to. It's almost like sloppy painting, I guess you could talk about it like that, because it's like different. Neutral gray now with some black. I didn't want to go directly black with the black bit armor simply because there's no darker than black, so I couldn't put in some shadows in there, so it's kind of rough. All right, Bile Tan green mixed in with some Warboss green over here just to play around with some stuff. And I just tried some orc skin from Speed Painter and acrylic artist ink. So skin, right? So each one of these guys, I tried a new method on painting up skin. One has a little more red into it, a little more pink on some other ones, a little more Scorpina green, glowing green, a little more white mixed with the dark green to desaturate it all the way up. So mixing paints and doing kinds of things, having and playing with paint is part of the hobby. So if you're subscribed to specific formulas on how to do things, that's great when you're beginning the hobby. But eventually, you gotta get the humsfa, You gotta get the humpsa, right? To go out there and explore and just play with paint. Just have some fun with paint. When the restrictions go away, the fun level just increases. What's the worst that can happen? You paint it over. All right, so getting that skid onto it is just a blotch of different kind of colors just put together in order to try to make something of a semblance of a green. And being that the model is completely painted, because I usually paint in sub-assemblies, being that the model is completely painted was a challenge for me. Biotang green right now to get the recesses in there, and boy, did I slop that on. Like, I've never used my shades like this, like the way it's intended to be used. But you know, I'm not against it or anything. This is usually it's a lot of airbrushing, and I've been really subscribed to that. So I watered down my black and gray to form some kind of like really just go into almost like a wash kind of consistency to go for those bricks. Goes for those weapons, I should say. Now hitting with that a little bit of artist ink white, just mixed in with the color to get a little more of a highlight, and just thinking about, hey, if the sun is hitting this, where would it be hitting? You know, now going directly to white and just tapping very lightly on the super edges there. Actually turned out that direct white was a little bit much, and I went back and I just really just try to blend that in a little more, just putting just a tiny bit of green in there. But you can by all means go to white, but it's just going to look like really, really shiny skin, like he oiled himself. All right, so going with the darker green as well, just really reinforcing the shadows. And you see how I'm going back and forth. It's not just highlight one and then recess another one. I go back and I outline things with darker recesses. Like I really play around with different combinations of doing things here. All right, Orruks hide with Morfang Brown. We're talking Leather Town over here. That's right, leather, all about that leather. And that Morfang Brown and doing over the Orruks hide is classic leather. And then I tried something new with this bony matter speed paint onto like the wraps, because that's one thing I don't like doing is wraps. Like I don't have the skill to wrap. I guess I could, but hand wraps on weapons, I always felt they were a little lackluster and that I could have always improved. And actually doing this bony matter onto there, actually pretty darn good. That's exactly what I wanted in a wrap there. Got a little dark there and tinted it out later on, but that's pretty cool. All right, again with the watered down like gray mixture, and it's just like severely flow improver and water, like, I don't know, 8-to-1. Dark aluminum is next. I would have picked up any kind of aluminum really, and just hitting different areas with that metallic paint, doing the non-metallic kind of like rusty wash for the weapons with some metal in there as well, because you know these guys are heavy metal, baby. Not really, I don't use that style. None oil, I can use that style. I have used that style, but just not on this one. None oil back into your metallic pieces just to dirty them down, because ain't no way an orc is going to be like all proud of his weapon and shine it or anything like that. I've never, ever seen an orc take care of a weapon. That's not how the orc do. They just constantly are on the rampage and doing something like that. Well, this is definitely a creative exercise for me. All right, time for some Screaming Skull, Mushanti Bone, and Wraith Bone. And you guessed it, we're doing some skulls here. Skulls are fun and pretty easy to do as long as you know where and you have a definite choice where the light is coming from. Some Beastie Brown is coming out there, some nasty little Beastie Brown. And I'm going to cover the base with most of that Beastie Brown. And, you know, I'll put a wash on it because that brown is a little like muddy, and that's what I was going for. All right, just doing a little bit of wash on that after I put a little bit of the gray mixture onto the stones and really washing it down with Serapon Sepia just to give it that muddy kind of look. And now it's time for the grand reveal. I gotta say, I had a blast painting these guys. This is so much fun with their animated faces and all the metal that just slapped on and patched up, patched metal, I remember patching jeans back in the day, but patched metal, oh my gosh, so much fun. It is insane. I really discovered new things. I learned new things. I had a lot of fun painting orcs. I'm gonna have to start an orc army. It just has to happen, right? It just has to happen. But first, I have to finish my Tau. Time for the last big push for my Tau, which is coming up. True Tau believers of my channel, I have a really big surprise in store for you, but you're gonna have to stay tuned. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed this process half as much as I enjoyed painting these guys. And remember to paint every miniature to increase at least one skill. And may your backlog be ever smaller.
Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up,